going to be answering a question today that was raised in our last class back.
Watoto kaa chini.
Thing is the type of school that Jesus went to. Now, girls didn't go to school at all in Jesus' time. School was only available to boys, no girls, not allowed. And they started school around age 7. So now we start school either 4 or 5. They start school around age 7. And school was held in someone's house. They would call it a teacher's house. And they would go to the teacher's house for school, not a school building. Now, what type of subjects do you guys talk about at school? What's some of the subjects you guys talk about? Somebody give me one. Yes.
I know on the paper. Math.
Math. Okay, what's another one? Reading.
Social
Studies. Science. Geometry. History.
Recess.
Recess is not a subject.
Jaden said that.
You do have physical education though. Or PE.
Hey, what about the computer lab?
Yeah, PE.
Computer
lab, library.
All right, very good. Well, take a look at the screen and you'll see the subjects that Jesus had in school. And I don't know about you, but I thought these subjects was just weird. Another thing that I thought was extremely odd was that 90% of Jewish boys, even though they went to school, cannot read or write.
That's the main point.
Isn't that weird? 90%. That means the majority of the young boys that did go to school were not taught to read or write.
Then that's not school.
I just thought that was very odd. Let's look at these. Let's look at these odd subjects because this is what Jesus was taught. And I cannot pronounce these Jewish or Aramaic names here. But the first subject is called seeds. So they didn't have math, but they had a subject called seeds. And this subject was dealing with agricultural laws and prayers. So think about the fact that we're a farming community. The Bible talks about them growing barley, lentils, what else? I know beans and barley for sure they grew. But they had a subject called seeds. And that was the first one. They had a subject called festival. And this was about laws containing to the Shabbat and all of the festivals. So 6 days of the week, a Jewish person could work. 1 day of the week, they could not. All of these laws, as well as the festivals, how we supposed to celebrate Passover, how we supposed to celebrate the Festival of Tents, all of the different Jewish festivals that they had one subject called festivals, and that's what they learned in that subject. They had a subject called women. So girls couldn't go to church. Couldn't go to school. but they had a subject called women, and they learned all of the laws concerning to marriage and divorce. That was the subject women. Then you had a subject called damages. Okay? Damages was civil and criminal law. So if you did something that was a civil crime, so if you did something that had to do with relationship, you broke some type of trust or contract, that would have been civil law. Criminal law, you know, you killed something, you stole something, those would have been the criminal offenses. But that's what they learned in damages. So how to handle broken contracts, how to handle theft, murder, those things, that was all under the subject of damages. Then you had a subject called holy things. Holy things dealt with how do you do stuff at church. So all the sacrifices that the priest did when he was slaughtering the lambs, killing the cows, putting them on the altar, killing the doves, the birds, the doves, all of the grain offerings, everything that they did at church related to sacrifice, they learned under the subject holy things. And the last subject is called purities. So when you are a Jew, you can either be pure or impure. And the things that make you impure are not necessarily like sins, but like, say you guys have seen dead animals in the road, right? If you went and touched a dead animal, you was considered impure. Touching dead things, touching molded stuff, sometimes even being around sick people would make you impure. So that was the last subject. So just read over these real quick. Let me know what you think about these subjects that Jesus would have been learning about in school. Any questions or any interesting insight that anyone wants to share?
No, ma'am.
Would you guys have liked to study these subjects instead of the subjects you study now?
Whose cup is that? Yeah.
How many vote? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you would like to have been going to school back in Jesus's time. These subjects are definitely a lot different than what we study today, for sure. All right, guys. Well, that is all I have. I hope you found that interesting. I hope it gave you a lot more information on what it was like to be a child back in Jesus's time. Long time ago. Let me see what's in this chat. Oh, Jordan Wood. Jordan wants to go to school back in Jesus's time. It was definitely different, that's for sure.